GM workers arrested on the picket line this morning in Tennessee at Spring Hill.
Yeah, that was yesterday.
For attempting to block a car hauling truck from leaving the plant with new GM vehicles, presumably built before the strike started. Witnesses' video posted on Facebook shows 2 pickets, 1 male, 1 female, being cuffed by police on the picket line, while several other workers stand in front of the semi-truck. Okay, the part that I want to really stress here is this. The incident in Tennessee is only the latest indication that police are intervening more aggressively against pickets to open up, and picketers, to open up traffic into the plants. A reader of Auto Worker Newsletter provided photographs of police vehicles parked near the picket line at Warren Tech Center in suburban Detroit. We mentioned that just a minute ago. The police were preventing pickets from blocking the entrances. The police, ladies and gentlemen, historically have been against the union efforts.
Absolutely they have.
The police out in the famous strike with the miners surrounded the camp and opened fire on
West
the
Virginia.
mothers and the kids in the camp, which prompted Woody Guthrie to write a song about the massacre. They weren't scabs that were hired. They were the police. And then later it was the National Guard. Big business, big GM power. It gets the help from the police department. Corporations there to protect not you, but the corporations. And this is a prime example of it. And I read a book one time where the management used to hire college football players to go, 300-pounders, and rough up and so you can go down to a picket line, and you'd have all these big linemen.
Well, Carnegie used to hire Pinkerton Security to bust up union strikes.
Yeah, now they don't need that.
No?
Just call the police. Just like we saw in Detroit when they had the protests down here. And they were grabbing the people that were standing against the Proud Boys and the white supremacists. They didn't do anything with the Proud Boys.
No.
But people on the sidelines that were protesting to show white supremacy, the cops went in there and busted heads.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, folks, you really need to be paying attention to what's happening with this General Motors strike. And really, I agree. Ford and Chrysler workers ought to join the pickets. They ought to just walk out en masse. Hell, I'd like to see a national sit-down strike. Just everybody stop for 2 days.
Hey, MEA.
You want things to change? Do it for 2 days. Things will change real fast.
MEA, did you just hear what Darren Gibson said? Did you just hear him call for a broad, across-the-board strike? You got any ideas, MEA, what you might want to strike? How about worried about the teacher pension fund? How about making some signs and getting your people out? If you've got the UAW workers in the street, you got a good backdrop, you got plenty to protest about. Haven't seen a protest from the MEA. I can't remember the last protest from the MEA. I live off the teacher pension fund, and the Republicans have got their drool all over that money. Don't tell me they don't. They backed out on 45-cent tax, and the Democratic Party itself said it was too extreme. Okay, that's fine. Think of another idea how to give the money to the contractors in the road. But there's only one idea they have. They haven't changed it. They went to Mackinac Island last week. They haven't changed their idea, Darren.
No, they're going up there this weekend.
This weekend, yeah. I can tell you what it is. They want the money that's in that fund. And the MEA should connect the dot a little. You know, the best football coach is not the one that reacts to the play that was just ran. It's the one that's going to be run. And the one that's going to be run is they're going to rob the teacher pension plan.
Yeah.
And teachers like myself, of which there's 150,000 of them or something in the state, are just getting by now.
I know.
So you need something to protest unions? Give us a call. Give Southpaws a call. We can give you some great ideas.
Yeah, if you want to call the office number, it's area code 231-303-0666.
And Chico will be standing ready to take your call.
I get to see the little guy later today.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Oh, I want to move on to this topic real quickly because this is an update to the college admissions scandal. So after we went off the air last week, Felicity Huffman found out what her punishment was going to be. The actress, slap on the wrist is pretty much what she got. 14 days in jail and a $30,000 fine. Jack, if you did the same thing that she has admitted to doing, would you get 14 days or would you get more?
Months and months and years. And
would you have a $30,000 fine or would you be paying more?
It's disgusting. It's such a double standard. You know, you talk about the guy that took a pair of tennis shoes or something. He's in for years. If he's Afro American, the list go on and on. Maybe the most disgusting is a woman who was homeless, had a child, and she lied to a school district and said that she lived either in that district. I don't know the details, so that he could be entered into a quality school.
Yeah, and they arrested her.
She's been in jail, I think that's 2 or 3 years ago, ever since. Now we have a woman that uses her power and influence to bribe, to pay off test guardians and cheat their fannies off, and she gets a token punishment, literally a token punishment. That's how hypocritical our system is. And I think the guy that made accusation against the justice system here in our state over the fact a judge and put it on Facebook, he was just acquitted. Our system needs to have some pushback. It's as corrupt as the corporate system.
Yeah, let me just put it succinctly, and I've said it before, and I'll keep saying it on this show as long as Pacifica will air us. The ultimate privilege in this country is wealth. More than skin color, more than race, more than religion.
That's right.
More than gender. That is the ultimate. It trumps, no pun intended, everything else. If you have money, you could literally get away with murder and not suffer a consequence of it.
Folks, put your finger on the computer and ask it. Just Google, how many members of the U.S. Senate are millionaires? And if that doesn't shock you, do it with a local government.
Speaking of consequences, I want to get to this before we run out of time. There's a story that's we originally found it on Real Clear Politics by Ian Schwartz, but there is an embedded video from MSNBC where Brian Williams, who used to anchor the news and then he got caught lying, and so they kicked him off the air for 6 months, and then they brought him back onto MSNBC. He has his own show, and he interviewed Edward Snowden via satellite just earlier this week. It might have been a week ago. I want to read this here. Again, this is Ian Schwartz writing for Real Clear Politics. Edward Snowden revealed that then Vice President Joe Biden and then Secretary of State John Kerry pressured countries that protect whistleblowers and asylum seekers to deny him entrance. In an interview with MSNBC's Brian Williams, Snowden said he applied for asylum to countries such as allies France and Germany, but every time it got pulled. And I want to read this quote here. This is Edward Snowden responding. Brian Williams says, "You paint a portrait of what some of us knew, and that was that you were a thoroughly American kid in your upbringing. You wake up every day in Russia. You go to sleep every night in Russia. Are you actively seeking to get out? Are you, as has been reported, looking for asylum elsewhere?" Here's Edward Snowden's reply. Quote, "Well, this is not an actively seeking. This is not a new thing. And this is important history, especially for those people who don't like me. For those people who doubt me, who have heard terrible things about me. It was never my intention to end up in Russia. I was going to Latin America, and my final destination was hopefully going to be Ecuador. I applied for asylum in 27 different countries around the world, places like France and Germany, places like Norway, that I felt the U.S. government and the American public could be comfortable. That was fine for a whistleblower to be in, and yet every time one of these governments got close to opening their doors, the phone would ring in their foreign ministries, and on the other end of the line would be a very senior American official. It was one of two people, then Secretary of State John Kerry or then Vice President Joe Biden. And they would say, look, we don't know what the law is. We don't care if you can do this or not. We understand that protecting whistleblowers is a matter of human rights, and you could do this if you want to. But if you protect this man, if you let this guy out of Russia, there will be consequences. We're not going to say what they're going to be, but there will be a response. I continue to this day to say, look, if the United States government, if these countries are willing to open the door, that is not a hostile act. That is the act of a friend. If anything, if the United States is so concerned about Russia, right, shouldn't they be happy for me to leave? And yet we're seeing they're trying so hard to prevent me from leaving. I would ask you, why is that? End of quote.
Yeah.
Let me just repeat that. There will be consequences.
Right, Darren, why would a old crusty politician like Biden want to negate this man's right for asylum? I'm saying this obviously with strings attached. Why is it these power guys don't like whistleblowers? Got any clues?
You know, they don't want the secrets to come out.
Well, not just on something external. These guys don't want the secrets on themselves. A whistleblower is anathema to Joe Biden's of this world and the Hillary Clintons of this world and the Tom Perez, the whole
bunch of them.
They don't like whistleblowers. They didn't like when Assange showed clearly, and we read it on this program, the connection between the DNC and the media. They were sending briefs, word for word, what CNN was to read.
But here's the thing. They loved it when Assange was going after the conservatives. Oh, he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. As soon as he started in on Hillary Clinton, it was, oh, he needs to be prosecuted.
Yeah.
I tell you what, the conservatives and the liberals have the same trash. It all stinks.
When you see a whistleblower person who is antagonistic to whistleblowers, they got stuff they don't want exposed. It's that simple. Biden had quite a week, didn't he? Mm-hmm. Just another week of absolute total gaffes. I don't want to spend too much time about that. Yeah. But, man, oh, man, if they don't get a nominee besides Biden, they're going to lose to Trump so bad your head's going to swim.
Exactly. And we're running out of time real quick. I know you wanted to talk about the global climate protests that are happening today on Friday, September 20th.
Yeah, I'm going to try to squeeze one in. We're headed on a weekend, football weekend, but there's one right downtown here in Grand Rapids, a climate strike globally. The youth, what's that old Bible verse? Out of the mouth of babes. Mm-hmm. One of the babes' mouths sat in front of Congress. That's our hero.
Greta Thunberg.
Miss Thunberg addressed Congress with a simple demand, or point, I guess. You're not trying hard enough. Sorry.
No, let me clarify. They're not trying at all. Fixed it.
So Greta, who came over here on the boat to save fuel and so forth, is responsible today for a global protest against global warming. And I would ask, it took, what? How old was you when this started? 13 years old? It took a 13-year-old in lieu of the Democratic Party, who you can't even get a damn debate about the environment.
Yeah.
In lieu of the unions, it took a 13-year-old girl to light a fire into this world.
Yep, and she's been going at this for a couple of years, so keep on rocking, Greta. We appreciate it. That's going to wrap things up for this week. We'll return next week. I'm Darren Gibson.
I'm Jack Prince.
For our announcer, Kristen Cook, please support independent media and the First Amendment.
The stations that carry Southpaws do not necessarily share the opinions expressed on the show. Southpaws is protected by the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution and is copyrighted by Big D Entertainment. All rights reserved.